Yes, fight fans. This is Body and Mind Sports, and this weekend, well, basically this foregone weekend, we had Riyadh season at the BMO Stadium in Los Angeles, and first of all, I'd like to say thank you to Prince Turkey for putting in such an amazing fight card, especially for hardcore boxing fans. Not a lot of the names in the fight card were not really that well known, you know. So it wasn't a card for the casuals, but for the core fans, it was a massive stacked card, and I fully appreciate that as a core fan. So let's get into it. The main event. The main event was between Terence Crawford and Israel Madrimov. Terence Crawford, you know, we all know, three division, champion going into the fight, undisputed in two divisions. That is in 140 and 147 pounds, and he actually beat Errol the True Spence, who was the favorite, the biggest fighter at 147, to gain the undisputed belt at that weight class. So Terence Crawford is now moving up and is trying to campaign at the 154 division. So super welterweight. He's looking, basically dominate that division like he did the previous divisions, So and actually, really rate Terence Crawford for the kind of big moves he's making right now. The man does not cherry pick at all. The man doesn't cherry pick at all. I mean, he's gone to 154, and who is the first man who he picks to face? Israel Madrimov. For me, in my opinion, the best fighter at 154, even though his professional record doesn't actually show that, being that he's only had 11 fights, so his professional experience doesn't actually show his skill level and his ability, but he does have a very deep and vast amateur experience. He's won over 300 fights in line with people like Alexander Usyk, Bivol, who else? Lomachenko, and so forth, So yeah. So Israel Madrimov, despite what his professional record looks like, the man is not a pushover at all, and he may well cause he may well have caused an upset, being that Israel Madrimov came into the fight as the bigger man, the natural 154 pounder, with skills, with power, and very sturdy as a fighter, But the fight actually played out how I thought it might play out. I thought Crawford, moving up into a fresh weight class, he might show a bit of caution in the fight, and he proved me right. He actually proved me right in that fight. He came in a little bit cautious, not scared, but with respect of his opponent's abilities. Israel Madrimov, on the other hand, I'm not quite sure, but he didn't quite start how I expected him to start. I actually thought that he would pick up the pace in the early rounds and just bag those early rounds. Bag as much early rounds as possible. Because Terence Crawford is notoriously known for starting off slow. Not because he's a slow fighter, but because he's just a natural counter puncher, and he just waits to capitalize on your mistakes. So I would have thought Israel Madrimov would have started a little bit faster, picked up those early rounds, you know. But Israel Madrimov came in cautious. I did expect it, you know, facing, you know, the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. So coming in a little bit cautious. I did expect that, but he came in a bit way too cautious. A bit way too cautious. I mean, this is your weight class. You are the bigger man. Highly rated and skilled, although not very well known, but you are in the boxing world highly rated and respected. So I thought, being that you are the skillful fighter you are, and being that Crawford is moving up to your weight class, I would have thought you would have pushed the it would have pushed the issue a bit more, you know. You know, from the first round, Crawford started a little bit cautious, very patient. Israel Madrimov, you know, he started cautious, overcautious for me. Like I've said before, he was like his previous fights. He had a lot of, you know, this kind of, how can I say? He started off with a lot of feinting. Israel Madrimov was doing a lot of feinting in this fight. You know, a lot of herky, jerky movements, swiftly moving in and out, changing levels, and showing a lot of patience. You know, a lot. Yeah, but the movement that I've just described that Israel Madrimov was displaying, what was happening is that it was actually offsetting Crawford's momentum and his the way that he likes to fight. So it was offsetting his momentum, offsetting his rhythm, as I should say, and it had him second guessing, you know, as to what to do, even though I could see that he was clearly in control, you know, but he was very cautious of the fighter in front of him, and respectfully so, you know. Israel Madrimov, in that fight, he didn't actually go to the body at all, which quite surprised me, because he, like, you know, Floyd Mayweather, does like to jab a lot to the body. But I did see that could have left him a bit open for a counter from Terence Crawford, who is a powerful puncher and a finisher. So that was probably the reason why he didn't jab low that many times in the fight. I actually only saw him jab low maybe just 2 or 3 times in the entire fight. But what he was having success in was that straight right. You know, that straight right, the right hook, basically the punches that are kryptonite to a southpaw, you know, which was the stance Terence Crawford chose to utilize throughout the whole fight. From round 1 to round 12, Terence Crawford was southpaw, you know, so that right hand was getting in quite a lot, you know, he will land it maybe 2 or 3 times in the rounds, although not in all the rounds. The vast majority of the rounds, Crawford was just negating his attacks, blocking everything, you know, making him miss, you know. But other than that, Madrimov was a bit shy in the ring, you know, when it comes to the attacking. It was, like I said before, he was too cautious. He just wasn't letting his hands go. Just doing a lot of feinting, and it came to a point where I was thinking, if this goes past maybe the 3rd round and he's still feinting the way he does, yeah, then maybe it's something that Crawford is doing, you know. and maybe he's actually scared of that counter and possibly getting knocked out. Crawford also started very slow, more slow than usual. Although he is a counter puncher, he did start more slow than usual. But he did take the initiative in setting off his attacks, because Israel Madrimov was just holding back too much. We were just too patient to punch, you know. So Terence Crawford actually took the initiative in attacks and had his jab working for him all night. He was actually beating up Madrimov with that jab. But what I think gave Crawford the fight was those combinations, man, on the inside, those body attacks, got him going down and digging down to the body and then coming right back up to the top with the hook. Crawford, man, prolific with that, man. Displayed amazing quick hands, you know. Madrimov also was quite speedy in there, you know, although not very active. I saw Crawford actually hurt him a couple times. Even though Madrimov showed great durability, but that is expected. I mean, Crawford is fighting a bigger man, you know, but Madrimov showed brilliant durability. He actually proved himself in that fight, and for those of you who are wondering, you know, what kind of a fighter Israel Madrimov was, and whether he deserved to be a champion at 154, now you know, because he made the rounds very, 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 very close, you know, against the #1 pound for pound. He made the rounds very, very close. But what took the fight for Crawford was his jabs and his combinations on the inside. And Crawford also, whenever Madrimov did get a chance, you know, to hit Crawford, and I mean, he hit him with some pretty big bombs, man. The straight right. Also hit him with one left hook that I thought, damn, that could have taken Crawford's jaw off, but the man ate it, took his best punches and stuck his tongue out, and, you know, incredible. I mean, Crawford got the jaw of a donkey, man. That brother there, his jaw, he's got a chin and a half. I gotta give it to him. The man can take a punch. So those of you who are wondering if Terence Crawford has a glass jaw or not, because of what happened between him and Gamboa at 135, where Gamboa actually managed to have him on noodle legs, you know. Now you know, the man does not have a glass jaw. The man has a sturdy, strong chin that can take a good punch from a bigger man. But in this fight, even though the rounds were very, very close, I would say Madrimov made it close because he was overcautious and wasn't attacking very much. Also, his herky-jerky movements made Crawford to be cautious and second-guess himself quite often. But because of Madrimov's lack of initiative to, you know, mount an attack, Crawford was actually the one, you know, taking the initiative in the attacks. Like I said before, his jab was working brilliantly. you know, and he was nicking a lot of those close rounds, nicking a lot of them with his inside combinations, you know, and due to MADRIMOV's lack of activity. Crawford did look to catch him on the counter punch and capitalize off of a few of MADRIMOV's mistakes. Quite very few times he was successful on with his counter punching, but other than that, MADRIMOV didn't really make too many mistakes, and when he did, it was you know, swift-footed enough to get out of the punching zone quite quickly, which was quite impressive to me. Yeah, but because of Crawford's activity, his inside work, and his consistent jabbing, although he was fighting on the back foot majority of the fight, I'll say from rounds 1 to about rounds 8, yeah, to about round 7 or 8, Crawford was fighting on the back foot, even though he was taking the initiative in the attacking, which was pretty weird, because as a fighter who was going forward, MADRIMOV, I would have thought that he would have mounted more attacks, you know, he would have let his hands go more. But I had the fight 9-3 Crawford. I could only give 3 rounds maximum to MADRIMOV, man, and that was possibly due to his lack of activity, you know. He didn't land much. Crawford threw way more and landed more, you know, throughout the fight. So I got to give it to him. Even though the rounds were close, it was easy to judge who was nicking the rounds, you know. I gave MADRIMOV rounds, I believe I gave him rounds 5, rounds 8, and round 10, I think. Those are the rounds I gave MADRIMOV, you know. But aside from being on the back foot, you know, from round 1 to halfway through the fight, Crawford actually started picking up the pace towards the championship rounds, notably more in rounds 11 and rounds 12, where I actually thought that he hurt MADRIMOV and it could have possibly taken him out. I mean, if MADRIMOV was more offensive minded, he possibly would have taken him out, you know, which is a great testament to Crawford's ability and power. A lot of people were not impressed with Crawford and his performance in this fight, but I was, and I thought he made a smart move to come in a little bit cautious, you know. Naturally, as a smart fighter, he should, because he's moving into new territories and facing the top guy in that division. So smart move by Crawford. I would like to say congratulations to Crawford for winning a brilliant fight on a brilliant fight card, you know. Yeah, so I had Crawford winning, but some people didn't. Some people gave it to MADRIMOV. Some people thought Crawford won, just like I did. Some people think it was a draw, and you got other people also calling for a rematch. I don't think the rematch is needed, because I know how he's gonna. I know how he's gonna turn out. The fight wasn't, although close, it wasn't close. The rounds were close, but score-wise, it wasn't close at all. It was a landslide, you know. And I think if they do fight again, MADRIMOV, to win, he's gonna have to open up. And if he does, I know what's gonna happen. Crawford will knock him out. It will sleep him, you know. I think the the two fighters on two different levels. Crawford is clearly the better fighter, you know, and I think he will continue to keep proving that at 154, and possibly might become undisputed there too, you know. I don't really see anyone else giving him trouble. I mean, the man who I expected might trouble him is out of the way now. Yeah. So yeah, but let's see how it goes for Crawford at 154 though. Although at this time, Prince Turkey is calling for Crawford to face off against Canelo. From this fight, a lot of people are thinking that it was MADRIMOV's power and size was a bit too much for Crawford in this fight, and possibly his skill level too. But I think people are underestimating MADRIMOV, because what people don't understand is that styles make fights. In a fight between MADRIMOV and Canelo, who do I think I see winning? I actually think MADRIMOV got better footwork than Canelo, and I think he's a better overall fighter. I think if they fought, MADRIMOV would win. You know, so from there, you know already what I'm thinking if Canelo and Crawford were to face each other. I think Crawford will use great lateral movement, you know, to offset Canelo, and would take the fight all the way to 12 rounds and possibly win by unanimous decision. I think that's the only way he can beat Canelo. Anything coming close to a split decision or any other decision, I think they're gonna gift it to Canelo. So yeah, that is the end of my review of this fight. And if you like this content and would like to see more, please push that like button, subscribe and share. And thank you very much. Talk more boxing next time.